Hi, I'm Melissa McMahon with Care Paravel Academy. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about what to do with the preschoolers. You've probably spent a lot of time selecting and planning out just this perfect plan for your school age kids, and now you get to the point of, but what do I do with my little ones? I know that was my concern when we first started out. When my oldest was starting at year one as a 6-year-old, I also had a 5-year-old, 3-year-old, 2-year-old, and then 2 years later we added another baby. So there were lots of years there that I had lots of littles and trying to figure out how to incorporate them into our day that was perfectly planned out for the older children could be a little stressful. And I remember asking older moms, what do I do with the preschoolers? And they would just kind of chuckle at me. And I didn't know why. I'm not going to chuckle at you. I'm going to give you a couple of principles, overriding principles that you can think of as you are considering what to do, and then some other tips that you can use as you are incorporating them into your life because they are your students too. So the first thing I want you to remember is that children are not a distraction from your work. They are the work. And that quote is often misattributed to C.S. Lewis. It's actually Dr. John Trainer who said it, but it's a good one. So again, children are not a distraction from your work. They are your work. So whatever your toddler or preschooler is asking you to do, they're not distracting you from educating your kids. This is an opportunity to educate your kids. Still might be frustrating, and that's why we're going to talk about some things we can do about that. The second principle that I want you to keep in mind as you're considering all of this is that everything is changing all the time. I hope that's comforting to you. In some ways, it can be a little bit exasperating too. But if you right now have one in first grade and you're thinking of next year where you're going to have first grade and second grade, and then several years from now when you're going to have fifth grade and fourth grade and starting a first grade and some littles, that gets really overwhelming if all you're thinking is that you're adding to what you have now. But in reality, your first grader now is getting more and more independent every year and won't need as much hands-on from mama as she will 4 years from now when you're adding in other students. Also, your little ones are growing up all the time. So your nursing baby is not going to need you every 2 hours. You know this. So everything is going to ease up on mom. Right now, my kids are 8, 12, 13, 15, and 17. And, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's a lot easier than it was when they were all little. And you will find that too. Everything is always changing. So again, everything that I tell you today that you might find might work, it might not work next week because we're all changing, but maybe some of these things will. So some tips for you as you are keeping those principles in mind. First is to simplify your schedule. If you are expecting to sit down for 8 hours with your first grader, please rethink that. A first grader really just needs about an hour a day, maybe 90 minutes. Second grader, maybe 30 more than that. Third grader, maybe 30, 45 minutes more than that. So at most, you're really talking about maybe 2 to 3 hours a day with your younger elementary students. After that, they've got more independence. So if you're looking at that, it makes it suddenly a little easier to take on, well, what do I do with the preschoolers during that time? So simplify your schedule first. Secondly, I want you to help your older ones get more independent. So maybe each term you can give them an extra book that they can read on their own instead of with you. Maybe you can give them a little more freedom with their math work, with their handwriting, whatever it is, give that to them. They are usually very happy to be given more responsibility because it's part of being older, and it's just more exciting to be able to do more on your own. So do what you can to help them in their independence. And part of that is habit training, which you can also be doing with your preschooler at this time. So help them develop good habits, good study habits, good habits of accountability, and that will make everything a lot easier as you add on more students. So the third thing I want you to do is find these pockets of time. So if we're just looking at an hour a day that you need to spend with your first grader, and you've got these other little children needing your attention and your help, you can find those pockets fairly easily to add up to an hour. So first place you can look is nap time. And these naps, as long as you can keep them, keep them. Even if they have aged out of naps, try to keep a room time if you can. Now for us, that worked with some kids and not so well with other kids. Our youngest gave up her naps way too early when I really needed her to have them, but she just wasn't a napper, and you'll have some of those too. But do what you can during nap time. Keep that for the things that you really need to work hard with your older children. So maybe keep math time for nap time. And I know this might not be what you want to do because usually naps are in the afternoon and you might want to get everything done in the morning. But really, if that's a concentrated time that you have with your older student, you might want to keep that in mind for nap time. Now for me, nap time, when they went down for nap, I wanted to rest too. So you have to change your own mindset a little bit. But again, it's just for a season. It'll change by the time you figure it all out. Other pockets of time are meal times. This worked really well for our family because we were at the table, the toddlers were in their high chair, they were eating, they were happy, so they had something to do with their hands, they had something to do with their mouths, and it was a great time to do some schoolwork with the older children. And I would just eat before or after. So meal times were really great. And we would extend mealtime too. If the toddler was still happy in the high chair, I would just keep her there, maybe throw a few more Cheerios that way, and keep going with my older students. And so another organizational tip is to have something right there at the table that you can pull out and keep adding to school time if it's going really well. Take your cues from your toddler there. Outside time. If there is a way that your little one can be playing safely outside and you can be reading to your older ones, that's a great way for everything. We want to be outside as much as possible anyway. So that's a great time. Another pocket of time that you can find with your kids that you can do. Bedtime. If you can put the little one down to bed and spend a little more time with your older one, either reading maybe a lit selection or certainly a free read is great for this. History lessons sometimes too, or if there's a special book that dad wants to read to your child, maybe Paddle or Pagoo or a Holling book like that, that's a great time to get some of those readings into that your other children are already occupied, and maybe you can be reading with your little ones and dad can be reading with the older ones. So look in your own schedule and see what pockets of time you can put together so that you don't really have just a whole time at doing schoolwork. You're just getting pockets throughout the day and making it more of your life and your atmosphere. Fourth, and it kind of ties in, is having a safe space for your toddler, whether that's a crib or a pack and play or a room where they can play safely and you're nearby and you can hear if they need help. And having maybe toys that you only keep for that occasion so that they're new and exciting and keep their attention. So having that safe space for your toddler is another great way to get some schoolwork done while they could be playing and happy. Include them as much as you can. Certainly with the Riches, they like to look at artist pictures too. They like to sing. They like to be part of the Riches and nature study. So include them as much as you can. For us, we would always save our old math workbooks and give them to the little ones, and they loved to do their math, and it's really just scribbling in older sister's old math book. Otherwise, I'm just throwing them away. So that's a great way to do that. Also, old handwriting books, they can just color away on that and feel like they're big and doing real school. And they are. They're helping you, and they're learning some things as they go too. Sixth is to buddy up. Let some of your older students take turns playing with the little ones. We still have buddies, even though mine are older. So if we're in a crowded place, I'll say buddy up so that they might not be holding their hand now because they're too old for that, but they're keeping an eye on their buddy or being especially attuned to their buddy. So buddy up. So you finish a task with one child and say, all right, it's your turn to go play with little sister. They can go play while you're working with another child. Switch it off. Have a list of things that they can do if they are not sure what they can do with their little one. It can just be pure play. It can be puzzles. It can be reading a book, practicing their reading to their little sibling. Leapfrog factory videos were popular in our house. Little Pim videos if you're doing some language study. Find these things that they can do with their little sisters or brothers. We all had sisters in our house. So find things that they can do and trade off with that. That can be their recess, and let them enjoy being with each other with that. Seventh, if you find that you need to, don't feel bad about delegating childcare. You have taken on your children's education, which is a lot. And so if you find that you need a day or two or three a week or a morning that you can get help with childcare, go ahead. A grandparent would be ideal for this, or if there's somebody in your church that you could ask. If you wanted to bring in an older homeschool teen maybe to come and be a mother's helper or to babysit the little ones, take advantage of that if you need to. We did a Mother's Day Out program one morning a week for about 4 months, and it got us over the hump when our youngest was 2. And so we were in first grade, second grade, I guess fifth grade, and sixth grade. I think, yes, fourth grade and fifth grade. So that was a lot. And so this was just a great opportunity. We could walk down the street to the Mother's Day Out program. Littlest had a great time there. We were able to get concentrated work in one morning a week, and it was well worth doing that. So if you find you need to delegate, that's fine. Feel free to delegate because that might be the best thing for all of you. And it doesn't have to be for a long time. It can just be for a season. And then last, but it should probably be first, is to make sure your little one is getting plenty of time from you. Because if they're getting fussy, if they're getting frustrated, it might just be that they miss you, Mom, and they're feeling left out. So start your day, if you can, with lots of cuddles and reading to them what you want to do anyway. You just get distracted by what you think you have to do because of the work of a homeschooling mom. You're still a mom first, so make sure that you have those cuddles throughout the day. Grab them up, hug them, kiss them, read a short little book. It's well worth it. It's not going to derail your whole educational plan if you take some time out for your preschooler. Don't be so regimented that you can't enjoy your kids as well. So blessings to you. I hope some of this was helpful to you. Please send people my way. I'm hoping to do a video just as the need occurs to me or as the ideas occur to me. But if you've got some ideas, please let me know what you'd like to hear from. And blessings to you as you are homeschooling and enjoying your family. Thank you.